My name is Melanie Thompson, 34, and I never imagined my own mother would ban me from Christmas dinner. After years of paying their mortgage, funding Dad's medical bills, and being the family's financial safety net, Mom's words hit like a wrecking ball. We all agreed, "You're not welcome at Christmas." Her sarcasm cut deep. The $5,000 turkey dinner I'd arranged? Cancelled. Their catering? Gone. The mortgage payments? Stopped. By noon, my phone exploded with messages. Let me tell you what happened. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments, hit subscribe, and join me on this wild holiday journey. I grew up in Mapleton, a middle-class suburb where everyone knew everyone. Our family wasn't rich, but we weren't struggling either. Dad worked as a high school history teacher while Mom managed a local boutique. My older brother Marcus always played the perfect son role. My younger sister Amanda was the baby, and I was the middle child constantly trying to find my place. From an early age, I showed an entrepreneurial streak that confused my traditionally minded parents. While other kids set up lemonade stands, I organized a neighborhood lawn mowing service by age 12, hiring other kids and taking a percentage. Mom always said I was too focused on money, while Dad seemed quietly proud but concerned about my intensity. After college, while Marcus followed Dad into teaching and Amanda pursued nursing, I took a risk. With my business degree and savings from 3 part-time jobs, I purchased my first fixer-upper property. Everyone thought I was crazy, especially when I lived in it during renovations, sleeping on an air mattress surrounded by construction materials. 6 months later, I sold that house for nearly double my investment. Just beginner's luck, Mom said at Sunday dinner. Real estate is too unstable for a career. But it wasn't luck. It was research, hard work, and calculated risk. Within 5 years, I had a thriving real estate investment company with 12 properties and 6 employees. The family's attitude shifted from dismissive to expectant right around the time Dad was diagnosed with heart problems. The medical bills started piling up. Their insurance covered the basics, but the specialized treatments Dad needed came with hefty out-of-pocket costs. Without hesitation, I stepped in. "We can't accept this," Dad protested weakly, holding the check I'd written. "You put me through college," I reminded him. "Consider it payback with interest." Mom accepted the money much more readily than her pride should have allowed. Soon after, when they received a foreclosure notice on their 30-year family home due to missed payments during Dad's illness, I didn't just cover the back payments, I took over the mortgage entirely. "It's an investment in my peace of mind," I told them, not wanting them to feel like charity cases. "Knowing you're secure helps me focus on my business." This arrangement continued for 3 years. I never missed a payment, even during market downturns. The family home became another line item in my monthly budget, alongside my own mortgage and business expenses. Meanwhile, my relationship with Ethan developed into something serious. We met at a charity auction where we both bid on the same painting, he for his office lobby, me for a vacation rental. We compromised by having dinner instead, and that dinner turned into breakfast. Ethan ran a successful software company that specialized in sustainable energy solutions. He had tattoos peeking from beneath his professional attire, drove a motorcycle on weekends, and had been married briefly in his 20s. In Mom's eyes, these were unforgivable flaws. "He's not stable," she would whisper loudly whenever he left the room during family gatherings. And those tattoos? What will people think? People would probably think he was the brilliant, kind man who donated generously to environmental causes and treated me with more respect than any other man I'd dated. But Mom couldn't see past her narrow definition of acceptable. Marcus's wife, Jessica, fit the family mold perfectly: kindergarten teacher, church volunteer, scrapbooking enthusiast. Amanda was still single but only dated men Mom pre-approved. I was the family rebel simply for loving someone who didn't match Patricia Thompson's checklist. Despite the tension, I maintained regular appearances at family events. Sunday dinners once a month. Easter egg hunts for Marcus's kids. 4th of July barbecues. Each gathering featured Mom's passive-aggressive comments, carefully disguised as concern. "That dress is certainly brave, Melanie. Not many women your age would wear something so youthful. Is Ethan still doing that computer thing? Has he considered a government job? Benefits are so important." I'd smile, change the subject, and later vent to Ethan or my best friend Lauren. Lauren had witnessed the Thompson family dynamics since our middle school days and understood the complicated love-frustration tangle better than anyone. "They're proud of you," Lauren insisted after a particularly tense Thanksgiving last year. "They just don't know how to handle someone who broke the family mold." I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe that beneath Mom's criticism and Dad's quiet resignation, they were proud of what I'd accomplished. That they respected my choices even if they didn't understand them. That financial support wasn't the only thing connecting us. As Christmas approached this year, I decided to go all out. Maybe the perfect holiday would finally bridge the gap between us. Maybe generous giving would translate into the language of love that my mother could understand. Little did I know I was setting myself up for the most painful holiday season of my life. This Christmas was going to be different. After years of tension and walking on eggshells, I was determined to create a holiday experience that would bring our family together in a meaningful way. Money couldn't buy love, but it could certainly buy an incredible Christmas dinner and gifts that showed how much I paid attention to everyone's wishes. "You're going overboard," Ethan said, watching me create spreadsheets for gift ideas in early November. "Your family doesn't need all this." "It's not about need," I explained, color-coding columns for each family member. "It's about creating a perfect day where everyone feels special, where Mom can't possibly find anything to criticize." The centerpiece of my plan was an extraordinary Christmas dinner. The Thompsons typically had potluck-style holiday meals: Mom's dry turkey, Amanda's lumpy mashed potatoes, and whatever store-bought pie was on sale. This year would be different. I contacted Harvest Table, the most exclusive restaurant in the city, and arranged for their complete holiday catering package. $5,000 for one meal? Lauren gasped when I told her. "That's more than my monthly rent." "It includes everything," I justified. "A 20-pound heritage turkey, all the traditional sides made from organic ingredients, 3 kinds of pie, wine pairings, and servers to handle everything so Mom doesn't have to lift a finger." The reservation required a $2,000 deposit, which I paid immediately. The Harvest Table Christmas package was so popular that they only accepted 10 bookings each year. Securing one was like winning a culinary lottery. Beyond the dinner, I planned personalized gifts for everyone. For Dad, I found a first-edition copy of his favorite historical biography, plus tickets to a history lecture series at the university. For Marcus and Jessica, I arranged a weekend getaway at a luxury resort with childcare included. Something they hadn't experienced since before their twins were born. For Amanda, I commissioned a custom necklace featuring our grandmother's birthstone. Mom was the trickiest, but I eventually decided on a complete kitchen renovation, something she'd mentioned wanting for years, but could never afford. I'd already contacted contractors who could begin work in January. For the kids, Marcus's 7-year-old twins and 4-year-old son, I purchased the top items from their wish lists plus education funds I'd quietly established years ago. "They're going to think you're showing off," Ethan warned as we wrapped gifts in our living room, Christmas music playing softly in the background. "Or maybe they'll finally see that I care," I countered. "That my success doesn't mean I've abandoned family values. It means I can help give them everything they've ever wanted." The family home needed attention too. While Mom kept it spotlessly clean, certain areas showed their age. The week before Christmas, I arranged for painters to refresh the living room and dining room. New carpet was installed in the hallway. The ancient dishwasher that had been making ominous noises for months was replaced with a top-of-the-line model. "Just think how much easier holiday cleanup will be with this," I told Mom when the appliance was delivered. She'd smiled tightly and said, "We managed fine with the old one for 15 years, but thank you." That response should have been my warning sign, but I was too caught up in holiday momentum to notice. I called Marcus in early December to confirm everyone's arrival time for Christmas Day. "Wow, sis, you're really getting into the spirit this year," he said. "Jessica's excited about not having to cook. She's been stressed with the school Christmas pageant she's organizing." "That's the whole point," I said. "Everyone works hard all year. Christmas should be about relaxing and enjoying each other's company." Amanda seemed equally enthusiastic when I spoke with her. "Mom mentioned you're going all out this year. It'll be nice to just show up and eat for once." "Exactly. And wait until you see the dessert menu. Remember how you always wanted to try real creme brulee? They're bringing the little torch and everything to finish it tableside." Everything was falling into place. I'd even convinced Ethan to wear a conservative sweater instead of his usual holiday t-shirt with inappropriate jokes. "The things I do for love," he sighed, trying on the navy cashmere I'd purchased. "Just for a few hours, I promised. Then we can come home and you can wear whatever you want. Or nothing at all." That suggestion improved his mood considerably. 2 days before Christmas, I called Mom to confirm final details. I'd been texting updates throughout the month, but wanted to walk through the complete schedule once more. "The caterers will arrive at 1 o'clock, I explained. "They need about 3 hours to set up and prepare. Dinner will be served at 4, which works perfectly with the kids' schedules." Mom replied, sounding distracted. "Is that going to work?" "I can push it back if needed." "I suppose it doesn't matter now," she said cryptically. "What do you mean? Has something changed?" The pause that followed lasted only seconds, but felt like an eternity. I had no idea that her next words would shatter not just my Christmas plans, but my entire understanding of my place in our family. "Melanie," Mom's voice turned suddenly cold. "We need to talk about Christmas." Something in her tone made my stomach clench. I sat down at my kitchen island, instinctively bracing myself. "Is there a problem with the timing?" I asked. "Like I said, we can adjust. The timing isn't the issue." She cleared her throat. "The issue is, well, there's no easy way to say this." I waited, my hand tightening around my phone. "We all agreed you're not welcome at Christmas this year." The words hit me like a physical blow. I actually pulled the phone away to look at the screen, momentarily convinced I must be talking to someone else. Not my mother. Not the woman who gave birth to me, raised me, who I'd been financially supporting for years. "What?" I finally managed. "Mom, that's not funny." "It's not meant to be funny, Melanie. This was a family decision." "A family decision?" "I am family." Mom sighed, that familiar sound of disappointment I'd heard throughout my childhood. "You know what I mean. Your father, Marcus, Jessica, Amanda, we had a family meeting last weekend." My mind reeled. A family meeting I wasn't invited to. About me. About excluding me from Christmas. Why? The question came out smaller than I intended, almost childlike. "We want a traditional Christmas this year. With traditional values." Her emphasis on traditional was unmistakable. This was about Ethan. About my lifestyle. About everything that made me different from the perfect Thompson family mold. Traditional values? "Mom, I'm paying for everything. The dinner, the gifts." "That's part of the problem," she interrupted. "You think throwing money around fixes everything. Christmas isn't about expensive caterers and extravagant gifts. It's about family togetherness." The irony was so thick I could barely breathe through it. Family togetherness. Without me. What about Ethan? Is he unwelcome too? A heavy pause. "Ethan is inappropriate. Your father and I have tried to accept your choices, Melanie, but Christmas is special. The children are impressionable." "Inappropriate?" My voice rose. "Ethan runs a successful company. He volunteers. He treats me with respect. What exactly is inappropriate about him?" "The tattoos, for one thing. The motorcycle. His divorce. You know how we feel about divorce in this family." I laughed bitterly. Right. Better to stay in an unhappy marriage than admit a mistake and move on. That attitude is exactly why we think it's best if you skip Christmas this year. Your lifestyle choices are disruptive. My hands were shaking now. Did Marcus and Amanda really agree to this? Let me talk to them. They're not here right now. But yes, everyone agreed. Marcus is particularly concerned about the twins picking up your modern ideas. My mind flashed to the education funds I'd established for those twins. To the Christmas gifts wrapped and ready. To the $5,000 dinner deposit that was non-refundable. So you've been planning this for a week? Were you going to tell me, or just let me show up and find the door locked? Don't be dramatic, Melanie. We would have called eventually. Eventually? Christmas is in 2 days. Well, you've been so busy with your fancy dinner arrangements, it's been difficult to reach you. I closed my eyes, fighting back tears. What about the mortgage payment? Is that disruptive too? Or my check for Dad's medication? Should I stop those as well, since they come from my inappropriate lifestyle? Mom's tone turned frosty. That's unfair. Your financial assistance has nothing to do with this decision. Doesn't it? You'll take my money but not my presents? You'll exclude me from Christmas, but cash my checks. Now you're being childish. Your father and I appreciate your help, but that doesn't entitle you to impose your values on our holiday. Impose my values. As if generosity and inclusion were somehow toxic. As if loving someone who didn't fit their narrow worldview was a sin. I need to speak with Dad, I said firmly. He's resting. His heart, you know. His heart. The ultimate conversation ender in our family. No one could argue when Dad's heart condition was invoked. Then I'll call Marcus. I wouldn't, Mom said quickly. He and Jessica are dealing with enough stress preparing the kids for Christmas. This would just upset them. They weren't too stressed to attend a family meeting about me, apparently. Melanie, please try to understand. We love you, but Christmas needs to be peaceful this year. Love. The word sounded hollow, meaningless. If this was love, I wanted no part of it. I understand perfectly, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. You've made yourselves clear. I'm glad you're being reasonable. You can come by after New Year's when things settle down. After New Year's. Like some distant acquaintance. Not a daughter. Not family. Goodbye, Mom. I ended the call before she could respond. For several minutes, I sat frozen at my kitchen island, phone clutched in my hand. The Christmas playlist I'd been enjoying earlier still played softly in the background, the cheerful melodies now a mocking soundtrack to my humiliation. My own family had held a meeting to ban me from Christmas. They discussed me, judged me, and found me wanting, while still expecting me to foot the bills. The betrayal was so complete, so absolute that I couldn't even cry. I just sat there, numb, as my perfectly planned Christmas crumbled around me. The moment I set my phone down, everything inside me collapsed. 3 decades of seeking approval, of trying to be enough despite being different, of financially supporting people who apparently couldn't stand my presence, it all came crashing down in a tidal wave of pain. I don't know how long I sat there at the kitchen island, but eventually, I became aware of Ethan's voice. Melanie? Babe, what happened? I looked up to see him standing in the doorway, concern etched across his face. I tried to speak, but could only shake my head. Ethan crossed the room in 3 strides, wrapping his arms around me as the first sob broke free. Once it started, I couldn't stop. I cried until my ribs ached, until my eyes burned, until Ethan's shirt was soaked through. Between gasps, I managed to tell him what happened. His body tensed as I recounted my mother's words, the family meeting, the rejection. Those ungrateful, judgmental, he caught himself, taking a deep breath. I'm so sorry, Mel. You don't deserve this. Not after everything you've done for them. Maybe I do, I whispered. Maybe I'm exactly what they think I am, disruptive, inappropriate. Stop. Ethan tilted my chin up, his eyes fierce. There is nothing wrong with you. Nothing. You're brilliant, generous, too loving, honestly, to people who don't appreciate it. I pulled away, grabbing my phone. I need to talk to Marcus. He wouldn't agree to this. He couldn't. My fingers trembled as I dialed my brother's number. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. I tried again. Same result. I sent a text, * need to talk to you about Christmas. Please call ASAP, *. Next, I tried Amanda. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Another text sent, another plea for contact. They're screening my calls, I said, disbelief coloring my voice. They actually are. Ethan's expression darkened. Let me try. He pulled out his own phone and called Marcus, putting it on speaker. To my shock, Marcus answered on the second ring. Hey, Ethan. What's up? Marcus, it's Ethan and Melanie. We need to talk. A pause. Oh. Now's not a great time. The kids are. Cut the crap, Ethan interrupted. Your sister just found out she's been uninvited from Christmas. Did you really agree to that? Another, longer pause. Look, it's complicated. Mom and Dad feel strongly about having a traditional holiday this year. And you went along with it? I asked, my voice breaking. After everything, Marcus? The mortgage payments? Dad's medical bills? The gifts for your kids? That's not fair, Mel. This isn't about money. Then what is it about? Mom said you were worried about your kids picking up my modern ideas. What ideas are those, exactly? Independence? Financial security? Loving someone regardless of whether Mom and Dad approve. You don't understand. Jessica's parents are coming this year. They're very conservative. We just want a peaceful holiday without discussions. Discussions, I repeated flatly. You mean without me and Ethan? Just this once, Mel. It's not forever. Right. Just Christmas. Just the most important family holiday of the year. I'll call you tomorrow, okay? We can talk more when I'm alone. But I'd already hung up. The betrayal cut even deeper now. It wasn't just Mom being controlling. My siblings, the people I'd grown up with, shared secrets with, supported through every crisis, had actively participated in excluding me. Try Amanda again, Ethan suggested. This time, she answered. Melanie, I can't talk right now. Were you even going to tell me? I demanded. Or just let me show up with $5,000 worth of catered food to find the door locked? It wasn't my idea, she whispered. Mom was really insistent, and you know how she gets. So you threw me under the bus because standing up to Mom is too hard? After everything I've done for this family. That's not fair. You know I love you. Do I? Because from where I'm standing, it seems like the only part of me this family loves is my checkbook. Amanda's voice cracked. That's not true. Please, can we talk tomorrow? Mom's in the next room. Of course she is. Heaven forbid you have an independent conversation without her approval. After hanging up, I collapsed onto the couch, emotionally drained. Ethan sat beside me, silent but supportive, his hand warm on mine. A notification chimed on my phone. Absently, I checked it and felt another knife twist in my heart. It was a Facebook post from Jessica, a photo of my parents, Marcus, Amanda, and Jessica decorating the Christmas tree. The tree I'd bought them last year after Mom complained about their old, artificial one shedding needles. The caption read, Thompson Family Christmas Traditions. So blessed to have everyone together for tree decorating night. Everyone. Except me. I scrolled through the comments and found one from my mother. Nothing better than family who share the same values gathering for the holidays. That's when something inside me shifted. The hurt began crystallizing into something harder, colder. Resolve. As if sensing the change, my phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. * don't worry about the dinner. We've got it covered. Jessica's parents are bringing ham. * don't worry about the dinner. The $5,000, non-refundable dinner I'd arranged weeks ago. The dinner that was supposed to make everyone's holiday special. They casually discarded it, and me, and now expected life to continue as usual. Another text arrived, this one from my father. Asterisk, your mother means well. Give her time. Christmas is stressful for her. Asterisk. Christmas was stressful for her? What about me? What about the hours I'd spent planning the perfect holiday? The thousands I'd spent trying to make everyone happy? The mortgage I paid so they could keep their precious family home? I opened my banking app and stared at the recurring transfer scheduled for the first of every month. $2,350 to Thompson Family Mortgage. The payment I'd been making for 3 years without complaint, without recognition, without thanks. In that moment, looking at the cold numbers on my screen, something fundamental changed in my understanding of family, of obligation, of self-respect. Ethan, I said quietly, I think it's time I stopped setting myself on fire to keep other people warm. He squeezed my hand. I think you're right. I leaned against his shoulder, exhausted but resolute. Will you call Lauren? I need reinforcements. Within 30 minutes, Lauren arrived with wine, chocolate, and fierce loyalty. As I recounted the story again, her expression shifted from shock to outrage. Those entitled, manipulative, she stopped herself. Sorry, not helpful. Actually, it is helpful, I said, accepting the glass of wine she offered. I need to hear that I'm not crazy for feeling betrayed. Crazy? Mel, if anything, you've been too forgiving for too long. They've gotten used to having their cake and eating it too, criticizing your choices while benefiting from your success. As the night progressed, with Lauren and Ethan offering perspective and support, I realized I'd been caught in a pattern of emotional manipulation my entire adult life. I'd confused financial support with love, mistaken criticism for guidance, and accepted crumbs of approval while setting aside my own needs. What are you going to do? Lauren asked as midnight approached. I looked from her to Ethan, feeling strangely calm despite the emotional hurricane of the day. I'm going to respect their wishes, I said slowly. They don't want me at Christmas? Fine. But they don't get to exclude me while continuing to benefit from my disruptive lifestyle. That night, I barely slept. But for the first time in years, the insomnia wasn't caused by anxiety about pleasing my family. Instead, I lay awake planning how to reclaim my power, my dignity, and my self-respect. By morning, I knew exactly what needed to be done. I woke up early after a fitful night's sleep, my mind surprisingly clear. While the emotional wound was still raw, something had crystallized inside me. A boundary, long overdue, had formed. Ethan was already in the kitchen making coffee when I padded downstairs. He looked up, concern evident in his eyes. Morning. How are you feeling? Like I've been hit by a truck, I admitted, accepting the mug he offered. But also resolved. He leaned against the counter. Resolved how? I took a deep breath. I'm done being taken for granted. If they don't want me at Christmas, that's their choice. But I'm making some choices of my own. First on my agenda was a call to my financial advisor, Rachel. Despite the early hour, she picked up on the third ring. Melanie? Everything okay? I need to make some changes to my financial arrangements, I explained, outlining what had happened and what I wanted to do. Rachel was silent for a moment. I understand completely. Let's restructure things to protect you while you figure this out. With her guidance, I set up a separate savings account where I would redirect the mortgage money. This way, Rachel explained, you're still setting aside the funds if you change your mind, but you're not automatically paying for people who aren't treating you with respect. Next, I called Harvest Table Catering. The manager, Michael, was sympathetic but firm about their cancellation policy. The $2,000 deposit is non-refundable this close to Christmas, he explained. We've already purchased all the specialty ingredients. I understand, I said. But is there any way to redirect the order? Perhaps to a shelter or community center? Michael paused. Actually, we partner with the Downtown Community Center for their Christmas meal for unhoused individuals. We could definitely add your order to their event. Perfect, I agreed. Please do that and add an extra 1,000 for additional needs. That's very generous, Ms. Thompson. Everyone deserves a special Christmas meal, I said, thinking of how my family had so casually discarded mine. After hanging up, I opened my laptop and drafted an email to Jonathan, the family lawyer who had helped set up the mortgage arrangement 3 years ago. Jonathan, asterisk. I'm writing to inform you that I will be discontinuing mortgage payments on the Thompson family home effective immediately. Please prepare the necessary documentation to remove my name from any financial obligations associated with the property, asterisk. I've made regular payments for 3 years as a gift to my parents, but circumstances have changed. They should be notified that regular mortgage responsibility reverts to them starting January 1 st, asterisk. Thank you for your assistance, asterisk. Melanie Thompson, asterisk. Short, factual, unemotional. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. While checking my email, I noticed a message from Marcus sent late last night. Asterisk Mom said she told you about Christmas. I know you're upset, but try to understand where they're coming from. By the way, don't worry about the dinner. I already told everyone it's taken care of. Asterisk. The casual presumption that I would still pay for everything while being excluded made my resolve strengthen. I didn't respond. Instead, I logged into my banking app and canceled the automatic mortgage transfer. Then I set up a new automatic transfer for the same amount, $2,350, into the savings account Rachel had helped me establish. What are you going to do about Christmas Day? Ethan asked as he watched me work. I looked up, suddenly realizing I hadn't thought that far ahead. I don't know. It feels wrong to just sit here alone while they're all together. You won't be alone, he said firmly. You'll have me. And probably Lauren if her family Christmas doesn't override. An idea began forming. What if we created our own Christmas? Not just a backup plan, but something meaningful. Something with people who actually want us there. Ethan's face lit up. Like a chosen family Christmas? Exactly. I reached for my phone. Let me call the Alpine Creek Cabin Resort. They might have a last-minute cancellation. Remarkably, they did have one cabin available, their largest, with 4 bedrooms. It's our premium package, the reservation agent explained. Most people book it a year in advance, but we had a cancellation yesterday due to a family emergency. I booked it immediately, paying extra for their Christmas dinner package. Then I texted Lauren, asterisk Christmas plans have changed. How do you feel about a mountain cabin with Ethan and me? Possibly a few others, asterisk. Her response was immediate, asterisk hell yes. My parents are going on a cruise anyway. When do we leave? Asterisk. Next, I messaged a few other friends who I knew had flexible holiday plans. By noon, we had a full cabin of 8 people committed to spending Christmas together. With alternative plans secured, I knew I needed to communicate my decisions to my family clearly and calmly. No emotional outbursts, no bitter accusations, just facts. I drafted an email. Dear Mom, Dad, Marcus, Jessica, and Amanda, asterisk. I'm writing to inform you of several changes following yesterday's decision to exclude me from Christmas asterisk. 1. The Harvest Table catering has been canceled and redirected to the Downtown Community Center's Christmas meal for those in need, asterisk. 2. I have discontinued mortgage payments on the family home effective immediately. You'll need to resume responsibility for these payments starting January 1 st, asterisk. 3. I will be spending Christmas with friends at Alpine Creek. I wish you all a peaceful holiday, asterisk. This isn't about punishment, but about establishing healthy boundaries. I've supported this family financially and emotionally for years while accepting criticism and judgment in return. That arrangement is no longer sustainable, asterisk. I'm open to discussing a new family dynamic based on mutual respect in the new year if you're interested, asterisk. Melanie asterisk. I read it over 3 times, adjusting wording to ensure it conveyed facts without vengefulness. Then I sent it to all 5 family members simultaneously. As I hit send, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. For the first time in years, maybe decades, I wasn't desperately seeking approval or acceptance. I wasn't trying to buy love with financial support or perfect planning. I was simply stating my truth and establishing boundaries that should have existed long ago. "Proud of you," Ethan said, reading over my shoulder. "They're going to be furious," I warned. He shrugged. "Probably. But that doesn't mean you're wrong." I closed my laptop and took a deep breath. Now we wait. The waiting didn't last long. Within minutes, my phone began to buzz with incoming messages. I ignored them, focusing instead on packing for our cabin getaway and finalizing details for our chosen family Christmas. For once, the Thompson family drama would have to wait. I had a new holiday to plan, one based on genuine connection rather than obligation and judgment. As I folded sweaters into my suitcase, I realized I was actually looking forward to Christmas for the first time in years. Not with anxiety about meeting expectations or fear of criticism, but with genuine anticipation of joy. Sometimes the most painful decisions lead to the most necessary growth. I was about to discover just how true that could be. The calm lasted exactly 53 minutes after I sent the email. At 12:17 p.m., my phone exploded with notifications. First came the texts, then the calls, then the voicemails when I didn't answer. "You need to see this," Ethan said, handing me my phone after I deliberately left it on the counter while packing. I scrolled through the barrage of messages, each more desperate or angry than the last. From Mom, *, "Call me immediately. This is completely unacceptable behavior, *. From Marcus, *, "What the hell, Mel? You can't just stop paying the mortgage because your feelings are hurt, *. From Amanda, *, "Please don't do this. Mom and Dad can't afford the mortgage on their own, *. From Dad, *, "Melanie, we need to talk. This isn't like you, *. I handed the phone back to Ethan. "Not now. I need to finish packing." "You'll have to deal with them eventually," he pointed out gently. Eventually. Not today. But the calls persisted. At 1:38 p.m., I finally answered one from my father, putting it on speaker so Ethan could hear. "Melanie? Thank God. Your mother is beside herself." "Hi, Dad." I kept my voice neutral, continuing to fold clothes into my suitcase. "What's this about stopping the mortgage payments? You know we can't afford to take that back on with my medical expenses." I paused, steeling myself against the guilt. "You managed before I started paying it." "Barely. And that was before the latest round of treatments." His voice lowered. "Honey, I know your mother can be difficult, but this isn't the way to handle it." "What is the way to handle it, Dad? Should I just keep paying for everything while being told I'm not welcome at family gatherings? Should I finance a lifestyle for people who think mine is inappropriate?" "It's not like that. Your mother just wants." "I know exactly what Mom wants. She wants my money without the inconvenience of my presence. She wants to judge my choices while benefiting from them. That's not fair, isn't it? Were you at the family meeting where you all decided I wasn't welcome for Christmas?" A hesitation. "Yes, but did you speak up for me? Did you point out the hypocrisy of excluding me while expecting me to fund everything?" His silence was answer enough. "That's what I thought," I said quietly. "I love you, Dad. But I can't keep doing this. The mortgage payments are going into a separate account. I'm not spending the money on myself. But I'm not automatically handing it over to people who don't respect me either. Your mother didn't mean. She meant exactly what she said. And now I mean what I'm saying. We can talk after the holidays if you want to find a way forward based on mutual respect." After hanging up, I sat on the edge of the bed, shaking slightly. Ethan sat beside me, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. "You did good," he said. "Clear boundaries." Before I could respond, my phone rang again. "Marcus." Against my better judgment, I answered. "Are you out of your mind?" he demanded without preamble. "Jessica's parents are here early, the caterer is canceled, and now Mom says we might lose the house? Hello to you too, Marcus." "This isn't funny, Melanie. You can't punish the whole family because Mom hurt your feelings. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm respecting the family's decision to have Christmas without me and making my own decisions accordingly. By canceling the dinner we were all counting on? By threatening our parents' home. First, I redirected the dinner to people who need it and will appreciate it. Second, I'm not threatening anything. I'm simply no longer volunteering to pay for a mortgage on a house I've been told I'm not welcome in. You know they can't afford it. Then perhaps you should step up. You're the oldest, after all. Marcus sputtered. My teaching salary barely covers our own expenses. You're the one with the successful business. Yes, the business funded by my inappropriate lifestyle and disruptive values. Those were Mom's words, by the way. Apparently acceptable enough to pay bills, but not to attend Christmas dinner. You're being childish. No, Marcus. For the first time in my adult life, I'm not being childish. I'm not desperately seeking approval by throwing money at problems. I'm setting healthy boundaries. Boundaries? You're blowing up Christmas. Christmas was blown up when you all sat around and decided I wasn't welcome. I'm just refusing to fund the explosion. After ending that call, I turned my phone to silent and continued packing. But the messages kept coming, visible on my screen even without sound. Amanda, Jessica is crying. The kids keep asking where Auntie Mel is. Please reconsider. Mom. I've never been so disappointed in you. After everything we've done. The guilt tactics were predictable but still effective. I felt the familiar tug of responsibility, the urge to smooth things over, to be the bigger person. Ethan must have seen it in my face. Stay strong, he said. They're trying to manipulate you back into the old pattern. My phone lit up with another call, a FaceTime from Jessica. I hesitated, then answered. Melanie, Jessica's usually perfect appearance was disheveled, her eyes red. Please talk to your mother. She's having a complete meltdown. That's not my responsibility, Jessica. But she was interrupted by a small voice off screen. Is that Auntie Mel? I want to talk to her. Jessica looked pained, then reluctantly angled the phone to show my 7-year-old niece Emma. Auntie Mel, are you coming for Christmas? Grandma said you're not, but I saved you a special ornament for the tree. My heart constricted. Hi, sweetheart. I can't come this year. I'm going to the mountains with some friends. But who will help me build my new Lego set? Daddy doesn't do it right. Jessica quickly reclaimed the phone. See what you're doing? The kids are confused. I didn't create this situation, Jessica. The adults who decided to exclude me did. It's just one holiday. Why are you making such a big deal? If it's just one holiday, why was it so important to exclude me? She had no answer for that. After ending the call, I sat in silence for several minutes. Using the children as emotional leverage was low, even for my family. But it showed how desperate they were becoming. By mid-afternoon, the tactics escalated. Extended family members began calling, aunts, uncles, cousins, all suddenly concerned about my well-being and the family Christmas. Your mother is just trying to maintain traditions, Aunt Susan insisted. You know how important that is to her. Traditions like financial support without respect? Like taking and taking while giving nothing in return. That's harsh, Melanie. Your parents gave you everything growing up. And I've repaid that many times over. But love and respect shouldn't come with a price tag. As the day progressed, I noticed a telling pattern in the messages. Not one person acknowledged the hurt of being excluded. Not one person recognized the fundamental injustice of expecting financial support from someone deemed unworthy of a place at the table. Instead, they focused entirely on the consequences, the canceled dinner, the mortgage, the disruption to their plans. Late in the afternoon, I received a text from my father that stood out from the others. I didn't agree with your mother about Christmas. I should have said something. Can we talk privately? That message gave me pause. For the first time, someone was acknowledging their role rather than just demanding I fall back in line. I called him back. Dad, I got your text. Melanie. His voice sounded tired. This has gotten out of hand. Yes, it has. I want you to know I argued against excluding you. But your mother was adamant, and you know how she gets when she makes up her mind. I do. But Dad, at some point, allowing her to dictate everything becomes a choice. He sighed heavily. 52 years of marriage teaches you which battles to fight. And I wasn't worth fighting for? His silence broke my heart all over again. Dad, I love you. But I can't keep prioritizing people who won't prioritize me. What about the mortgage? He asked finally. We really can't manage it, especially with the new treatment regimen starting in January. I've set up a separate account with the mortgage money. We can discuss arrangements after the holidays, arrangements that include respect and boundaries. Your mother won't like conditions. Then she'll have to decide what's more important, her pride or her home. After hanging up, I felt a strange mixture of sadness and strength. For too long, I'd allowed my family to define my worth based on their needs rather than my inherent value as a person. Breaking that pattern was painful but necessary. By evening, the tone of the messages had shifted from anger to bargaining. Mom, perhaps we overreacted. We can discuss your attendance at Christmas if you reconsider the mortgage issue, Marcus, Mom says you can come for dessert after dinner if that helps smooth things over. Dessert. After the main event. Like an afterthought, a concession rather than a genuine inclusion. I didn't respond to either message. Instead, I finished packing, helped Ethan load the car, and prepared for our early morning departure to Alpine Creek. As I moved around our home, selecting small gifts for our cabin guests and gathering supplies for holiday baking, I realized I felt lighter than I had in years. The constant need for approval, the walking on eggshells, the financial obligations without emotional return. All of it had been a weight I'd carried for so long I'd forgotten what it felt like to set it down. My phone continued to buzz occasionally throughout the evening, but with decreasing frequency. The family was realizing their usual tactics weren't working. For perhaps the first time, they were facing the reality that actions have consequences. Before bed, I received one last text from Amanda. I'm sorry. I should have stood up for you. Can we talk tomorrow? That small acknowledgement, that tiny acceptance of responsibility, gave me hope that perhaps not all family bonds were irreparably damaged. Some relationships might be salvageable with new boundaries and mutual respect. I responded simply, I'll call you after Christmas. Have a good holiday, Then I turned off my phone completely, ready for a night of uninterrupted sleep before our mountain retreat. You okay? Ethan asked as we climbed into bed. Not entirely, I admitted. But I will be. For the first time in forever, I'm choosing my own happiness over everyone else's expectations. It hurts, but it also feels right. He pulled me close. I'm proud of you. And I think this Christmas might be better than you expect. As I drifted toward sleep, I realized he was probably right. A holiday built on genuine connection rather than obligation and criticism couldn't help but be an improvement. Sometimes the most meaningful traditions are the ones you create yourself, with people who love you exactly as you are. The Alpine Creek cabin exceeded all expectations. Nestled among snow-dusted pines with mountain views from every window, it felt like stepping into a holiday card. By the time we arrived on Christmas Eve morning, light snow was falling, adding to the magical atmosphere. Lauren had arrived just before us, along with our other friends Sam and his husband David, my college roommate Kira, my assistant Taylor, and her boyfriend Miguel. As we unloaded cars and claimed bedrooms, the cabin filled with laughter and excited chatter. This is already better than any Thompson family Christmas I can remember, I told Ethan as we unpacked in the master bedroom. No tension, no walking on eggshells. That's because everyone here actually wants you here, he pointed out. That simple truth hit me harder than expected. These people, friends, chosen family, wanted my presence, not just my presence or financial support. We spent Christmas Eve cooking together, everyone contributing a favorite holiday dish. The kitchen became command central, filled with delicious aromas and friendly competition for counter space. No one criticized anyone else's cooking techniques or ingredient choices. Instead, there were compliments, helpful suggestions, and plenty of wine. After dinner, we gathered around the stone fireplace for games and conversation. No one asked intrusive questions about my relationship or career choices. No one made passive-aggressive comments about my outfit or lifestyle. We simply enjoyed each other's company, authentic and unguarded. To chosen family, Lauren proposed a toast, raising her glass. The people who love us because they want to, not because they have to. To chosen family, we echoed, glasses clinking. Later, as most of the group headed to bed, I stepped onto the cabin's wraparound porch to enjoy the stillness of the snowy night. The mountains loomed dark against the star-filled sky, reminding me how small human problems are in the grand scheme. My phone, which I'd kept turned off since leaving home, felt heavy in my pocket. Part of me wanted to check it, to see if the family drama had escalated or resolved. But another part, a stronger part, wanted to remain present in this peaceful moment. I was still standing there when I heard the porch door open behind me. "Can't sleep?" Ethan asked, draping a warm blanket around my shoulders. "Just enjoying the quiet. It's beautiful out here." He stood beside me, our breaths visible in the cold air. "Any regrets about not being at your parents' house?" I considered the question honestly. No. For the first time in my adult life, I'm exactly where I want to be for Christmas. We stayed there until the cold drove us inside, where we fell asleep in each other's arms without family stress hanging over us. Christmas morning brought more snow, more laughter, and a surprisingly emotional gift exchange. Rather than expensive presents, everyone had brought something thoughtful and personal. Lauren gave me a scrapbook of our 20-year friendship. Taylor presented handmade ornaments for everyone. Kira brought specialty foods from her recent travels. As wrapping paper piled up and thank yous filled the air, I realized this was what holidays should feel like: warm, genuine, free from judgment or obligation. Mid-morning, I finally turned on my phone, bracing for an onslaught of messages. There were several, but fewer than I expected, and the tone had shifted noticeably. Dad had sent a simple text, "Merry Christmas, sweetheart. The house feels empty without you. When you're ready to talk, I am too. Amanda's message was longer. "I spoke to Mom about how we've treated you. It didn't go well at first, but I think she's starting to realize what she's lost. Marcus is being Marcus, but Jessica secretly told me she misses you. The kids are definitely confused about why Auntie Mel isn't here. Hope your mountain Christmas is peaceful. Love you, *. Even Marcus had sent a grudging. *. The kids miss you. Hope you're happy with your new family. *. No message from Mom. I hadn't really expected one. As I was scrolling through, my phone rang, Dad calling. I hesitated, then stepped into the bedroom to answer. "Merry Christmas, Dad." "Merry Christmas, Melanie." His voice sounded rough, tired. "How's the mountain?" "Beautiful. Peaceful." "How's home?" "Quiet." "Your mother burned the turkey." Despite everything, I laughed. She always overcooks it. Even more than usual. I think she was distracted. A pause. "We all are. I'm sorry about that." "Don't be. You have nothing to apologize for." His words stunned me into silence. "I've been thinking a lot since yesterday. About how we've treated you. About how I've failed to stand up for you." "Dad, please let me finish. Your mother and I come from a different generation. Change doesn't come easily to us. But that's no excuse for making you feel unwelcome or judging your choices." He took a deep breath. "You've been more generous to this family than we had any right to expect. And instead of gratitude, we've given you criticism." Tears filled my eyes. I never wanted gratitude. Just respect. Acceptance. I know that now. And I want you to know something. I'm proud of you, Melanie. Of your success, your independence, your strength. Even your boundary setting yesterday. It was long overdue. I wiped my eyes. Thank you for saying that. I mean it. And I'd like to see you. Not to pressure you about the mortgage or anything else. Just to talk, father to daughter. I'd like that too. Are you far from town? Could I drive up for coffee tomorrow? The request surprised me. Dad rarely drove long distances anymore, especially in winter. You come all the way up here? If you're comfortable with it. I understand if you're not ready. I considered for a moment. There's a coffee shop in Alpine Creek Village. I could meet you there around 11. I'll be there. After hanging up, I rejoined the group, who were preparing Christmas brunch. Ethan raised an eyebrow in question. That was my dad, I explained. He wants to meet for coffee tomorrow. Are you going? Lauren asked, concern evident in her voice. I think so. He sounded different, like he's really thinking about things. The rest of Christmas Day passed in a blur of good food, better company, and genuine holiday spirit. The Alpine Creek Christmas dinner package provided a gourmet meal that rivaled what Harvest Table would have catered, without the side dish of family tension. As promised, Dad arrived at the Alpine Creek Coffee Company the next morning. He looked older than I remembered, more fragile, but his eyes brightened when he saw me. You look well, he said as we settled at a corner table with our drinks. Happy? I am. It's been a different kind of Christmas, but a good one. I'm glad. He wrapped his hands around his mug. Melanie, I owe you an apology. Many apologies, actually. You don't. I do. I've been a coward. It was easier to go along with your mother's opinions than to challenge them. Easier to accept your financial help without acknowledging the hypocrisy of judging the work that made it possible. What changed? Seeing the consequences, I suppose. Not just the practical ones, though the mortgage company has already called, but the personal ones. The family felt wrong without you there. Empty somehow. We talked for nearly 2 hours. Really talked, perhaps for the first time in my adult life. Dad shared his concerns about retirement, about Mom's increasing rigidity with age, about his own regrets as a father. Would you consider coming back for New Year's? He asked eventually. Not for everyone else's sake, but for mine? I don't know, Dad. Has anything really changed with Mom? With Marcus? Your mother is processing. But she did admit yesterday that Christmas dinner wasn't the same without your excessive planning. He smiled slightly. That's practically an apology in Patricia speak. I laughed despite myself. Very practically. As for Marcus, he's coming around. Amanda has been quite vocal about supporting you, which surprised us all. I considered the invitation. I'll think about it. But I need you to understand something. Things can't go back to how they were. I won't be the family ATM while being treated as a second-class daughter. I understand completely. And about the mortgage. Don't worry about that right now. Your mother and I will figure something out. Actually, I said carefully, I've been thinking. I'd be willing to continue helping, but with a formal agreement. Something that acknowledges it's a gift, not an obligation, and comes with basic respect. Dad nodded slowly. That seems more than fair. After our coffee, Dad surprised me by asking to meet Ethan properly. No judgment, no agenda. Just to get to know the man my daughter loves. The three of us had lunch at a small restaurant in the village. Dad asked Ethan about his business, his hobbies, his family, normal questions asked with genuine interest rather than veiled criticism. By the time Dad left to drive home, something had shifted in our relationship. A foundation for something healthier had been laid. Over the following weeks, changes continued. Mom eventually called, not exactly to apologize, but to suggest putting the unpleasantness behind us. Coming from Patricia Thompson, it was practically a surrender. Marcus and Jessica invited Ethan and me to dinner, just the four of us, without parental supervision. The evening was stilted at first, but warmed as it progressed. By dessert, Marcus was actually asking Ethan's advice about potentially starting his own educational consulting business. Amanda proved to be the biggest surprise, showing up at my office in mid-January with lunch and a sincere apology. "I should have stood up for you," she said simply. "I'm working on being braver." As for the mortgage, my lawyer Jonathan drew up a formal agreement. I would continue paying, but with acknowledgement that it was a gift, not an obligation, and could be discontinued with 30 days' notice if family relationships deteriorated. "They're testing the new boundaries," Lauren observed when I updated her. "Seeing if you'll hold firm." "So far, so good," I agreed. "It's uncomfortable for everyone, but necessary." By Valentine's Day, when I hosted a dinner party that included my parents, siblings, and friends, the new family dynamic was noticeably different. Mom still made a few questionable comments, but they were fewer and milder. Dad engaged enthusiastically with Ethan about sustainable energy. Marcus and Jessica stayed until nearly midnight, long after my parents left. "Baby steps," Ethan said as we cleaned up afterward. "Better than no steps," I replied. The truth was, resetting decades of family patterns couldn't happen overnight. There would be backsliding, testing of boundaries, old habits reasserting themselves. The difference was that now I had established my worth independent of their approval. I had proven to them and to myself that love without respect wasn't enough. That painful Christmas had forced a necessary reckoning. By standing up for myself, I had created space for more authentic relationships, not just with my biological family, but with my chosen one as well. As spring approached, bringing plans for Easter gatherings, I realized that family, true family, wasn't defined by obligation or shared DNA. It was defined by mutual respect, genuine acceptance, and the freedom to be authentically yourself. Sometimes the most valuable gifts we can give ourselves are boundaries, self-respect, and the courage to demand the love we deserve. That Christmas had taught me that painful lesson, but also given me the most precious gift of all, the knowledge that I was worthy of true love, not just conditional acceptance. Have you ever had to set difficult boundaries with family members? How did you handle the aftermath? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story might help someone else facing similar challenges. And if you found this journey meaningful, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who might need to hear that it's okay to choose yourself sometimes. Thank you for being part of my healing journey, and I wish you the strength to create the authentic relationships you deserve.